Hello, welcome to English Everest. This is our YouTube channel, and today we're going to deviate from our normal route of doing speaking lessons. Today we're going to look at one of those reading exercises that many people find a little bit harrowing. As you can see from the picture, it is the true, false, not given questions. So let's have a look at how we go about answering these types of questions. Okay, the definitions are: true, if the information in the text agrees in meaning with the statement question, then it's true. If the information in the text contradicts in meaning the statement question, then we have to say it's false. If the information in the statement is not covered or not mentioned in the text, then we have to say that it is not given. So there are three definitions. How do we approach this task? In much the same way we approach all reading tasks. We use a mixture of our reading skills: skimming, scanning, intensive reading, keywords. For those of you who are already studying for the exam, you should know these words. If you don't, I suggest that you look them up, because we're not actually going to go over these elements at the moment, because this is not what this class is about. Okay, so when we're answering these types of questions, the questions go in the order. So each question will just proceed in a logical order through the text. So you don't need to return to the beginning or previous parts of the text in this exercise. Also, we need to know that the text and statements will comprise different words or expressions, i.e. synonyms and paraphrasing will be used. So let's look at how we would determine what a true statement is. If, for example, you read a statement such as, foxes are one of the more prominent creatures found in woodland, while in the text you read a section which says, of all the animals which you can find in woodlands, the fox is the most common. So we arrive at our choice by underlining keywords. Here I followed my own personal guide. The way I do it is by looking at the nouns, looking at the verbs, and then looking at any other grammatical expressions. So I've created three separate lists: foxes, creatures, woodland, is found or find, is our verb, and the more prominent or the most common, and they are my comparison here. These are actually comparison expressions. Okay, so we've got all our keywords. Now, if we look at this, we can see that these keywords actually match. The more prominent equals the most common. Foxes equals the fox. Creatures equals animals. Found is past tense verb. You can find is a modal verb. In woodlands, in woodland. So all of that matches. All the information is a complete paraphrase. So in this case we would say that that is true, because both sentences agree with each other. For false statements, we're going to look at a different sentence. The three main diets which sports people follow when competing are carbohydrate rich, protein rich and low fat content. This comes from the statement you may read, but in the text it reads as a list of primary food intake regimes for athletes during out of competition periods are carbohydrate, protein and low fat. So looking at all the sentences here again, we can see that three main diets matches with list of primary food intake regimes. Sports people matches with athletes. Carbohydrate, protein and rich all match. When competing and during out of competition periods do not match because they mean the opposite thing. When you are competing, when you're not competing. So the statements in orange tell us that because they're opposite, we have to say that this answer is false. Finally, for our example, not given statement. This is where the information from the text and the statement do not have any connection. The text does not reference the statement and vice versa. Here's our statement. Indian people receive the highest number of spam emails in the world today. While the text reads, in India, a large percentage of the population are in receipt of fraudulent emails when compared to worldwide figures. Now, the statement clearly says India receives, or Indian people receive, the highest number of spam emails in the world. But the text doesn't reference this. All it says is they receive a large percentage of emails, but it doesn't tell you if it's the most in the world or anything else. So here we don't have enough information, so the answer is not given. Now we're going to look at an example, or you're going to look at an example, and you have to read through the text. Then we're going to answer some example questions. This is about mobile phone spam messages in China. So the text is there. We're not going to read it because this will be your task. It has 2 pages, and then at the bottom we're going to start looking at the questions. There are 6 questions. I call them questions because you're asked to do something, even though they're not actually questions. It's just a common word that we use, so don't be confused when I say questions. So the first statement here, the men delivering the spam text messages, etc. So there are 6 questions here, or 6 statements. Now the techniques that we use are keywords, which I've already explained, paraphrasing, which I've already explained, synonyms, which I've also explained. There are 2 number 3s there, which there should not be. Skimming, scanning, context reading. Again, if you're studying for IELTS, you will know these things. Context reading, a little different. What that means is you can understand a sentence without knowing all the words in it. You understand the meaning of the context of the sentence. So we call that context reading. Question 1. The men delivering the spam text messages in China use technology which is illegal and cannot be bought readily. That's our statement. So we take our keywords, and I've chosen these keywords. Your keywords may be different, but it's not that important if you have 1 or 2 keywords that are different. What you're trying to do is get the main aspect of the statement, and those are the words you're going to search for in the text. So we've got men delivery, spam, technology, illegal, cannot be bought readily. So before you look at the text, a good idea is to think about some of paraphrasing of your own. Now, I thought of these paraphrasing and synonyms, so it will make it maybe easier for me to spot those in the text. So I suggest that you do this before you look at the text. So for men, or men delivering, I've got people delivering. Sending. Sorry, for men I've got people. For delivering I've got sending. For spam I've got junk. For technology I've used technical. For illegal I've written against the law. Cannot be bought readily, my mistake. Not easy to buy, or cannot be bought easily. But not easy to buy is probably a more simplistic thing to use. So now we go back to the text and we look for these keywords or the synonyms in the text by scan reading. As soon as we find those words, we read around that section. So here's the text. It's delivery men drive through residential areas in neighborhoods, text messaging cars with illegal but easy to buy gadgetry. So we've got cannot be bought readily, which means not easy to buy, but the text says easy to buy. So cannot be bought readily and easy to buy are opposites. So we can tell that this answer is false. Question 3. Again, I haven't done question 2 because I'm only doing 3 of these questions, and these are actually one of each. One false, one true, one not given, just so you can see how each one is done. Question 3. Mobile phone owners in Beijing and Shanghai receive over 700 spam texts in a year. Keywords. Phone owners, Beijing, Shanghai, receive over 700 spam year. So I've got cell phone users. Users are owners. Receive, get, over 700, more than or above 700. Spam, junk, year, annually, yearly, or per year. Those are the ones that I think of to help me before I look at the text again. So the text reads users, who are the phone owners, in bigger markets like Beijing, Shanghai, receive, none of that has changed, 2 a day or more than 700 annually. So it's used more than and 700 annually. So this information is clearly stated in the text. So therefore it is true. Question 4. America received 4.5 billion junk texts, which was the least amount worldwide. Keywords. America received 4.5 billion. Junk texts, least amount worldwide. My paraphrasing and synonyms consist of the USA, the United States. Got for received, 4.5 billion. It could be written as 4.5 billion. Junk texts. So we've got spam or junk. Messages or SMSs, sorry. Least amount worldwide could be lowest in the world or the lowest globally. So now underneath again we've got the text. The text says Americans, which we have, received, no change. 4.5 billion, no change. Junk texts becomes junk messages. Okay. And after that there is no reference to the least amount worldwide. So it doesn't tell us that it's the least amount worldwide. So we don't know. That statement has to be true or it has to be false. But here we just don't know if it's the least amount worldwide, because the text doesn't tell us that. So therefore the answer is not given. Okay folks, that's the end of this lesson. There is an exercise that you can do. Below the video you'll see a link. If you click on that link, that will download the document and the answers. So if you like this lesson, please hit the subscribe button. Please comment. Your comments are very valuable. They help me to decide what you want and what I can produce for you. True, false, not given are among the more difficult questions in the reading part of the exam. Follow these guidelines, and with plenty of practice of course, this will aid your improvement and increase your band score. Thank you.